Namaste to all. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I say this because we have participants from all over the world to listen to space technology and application. The session going to be conducted by Sri Raghu Garu, Raghava Murthy Garu. We have his profile displayed on the screen. As you all can see, I'm just sharing the screen once again. Okay, Sri DVA Raghavamurthy Garu. To his accolades, he is advisor, Center for Space Research, LPU, Jalandhar, Secretary, Society for Small Satellite Systems, former director, Aerospace Research, former director for Earth Observation Systems, ISRO headquarters, and former project director for Catosat 1, IMS 1, YouthSat, SARL, and for small satellite projects. And for brief period, he was into Chandrayaan 2 as well. So, Sir has joined ISRO in 1980 after his MSc in technology from REC Warangal. So, Sri Raghava Murthy Garu, after his retirement, he has provided a lot of services to the students of the nation. He's been serving the nation and the students by being the faculty advisor, guided the students to make the satellites, which we're going to discuss in the coming slides. So as you can see on the screen, it talks about his profile, what he has done so far, and the accolades that he has got. So Sri Raghava Murthy Garu has got many international interactions, presentations. He has given a lot of papers, as you can see in his profile. He reviewed a lot of readiness, and he conducted a lot of workshops and conferences. As you can see, a very big profile, serving just not the nation but international seminars as well. He chaired a lot of activities, and he has got a very good knowledge in space technology. And so he's going to guide us on the space technology and applications. And as you can see, the awards and achievements, the accolades, he developed two satellite buses that is used by ISRO for satellite missions. And he has received the Team Excellent Award for IMS 1 and ISRO Merit Award for 2014. And also, as you can see, he is the life member for Indian Society of Remote Sensing, Indian Astronautical Federation, Indian Society of Systems for Science and Engineering. So, and also, just to add one more, he's a founder member and secretary for Society for Small Satellite Systems. So, as you can see the pictures here, this slide talks about his interaction with Prime Minister in 10th May 2005 in his office as a project director for Cartosat 1. He's been introduced to our Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh Garu, by Dr. Madhavan Nair, the chairman ISRO, after successful launch of Cartosat 1. And as you can see, the prestigious award, he received the appreciation and memento from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Garu on 31st May 2009 after successful launch and operation of IMS 1. And also, he received the Team Excellence Award from Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh Garu on 25th August 2009. And also, as you can see, he received Nano Satellite Model of IIT Kanpur from President of India, Her Excellency Srimati Pratibha Patil Garu on 6th March 2010. And there are a lot of international conferences on small satellites, as you can see on the screen, ICSS 2019. So he has got a lot of accolades, awards, and recognition throughout his career. And he has agreed to extend his services to the students. So on this session, he is going to brief us on space technology and applications, giving the overview and how we can pursue our careers and the opportunities available for the students and job holders and the benefits and how we can give back to the society. All this, he will share us in the next 1 hour. So there will be question and answer questions at the end of this presentation. So please hold all your questions. Please do not disturb. We request everyone to go on mute, turn off your videos, so that we request Sir to present and take us through the rest of the session. So thank you very much, sir, and welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the participants, uh, students to the elders, has been introduced by Sri Shiv Kumar Pai Ponu. Thank you very much for your appreciation. So, without wasting the time, I must say I have been in this actually field for the last 42 years, space science and technology. And after retirement from 2016, I have been helping the students and universities to rather bring up the next generation in order to serve the nation and also keep the nation ahead in this particular field, which is very dynamic and very lucrative from the national economy point of view. So I'll give a brief presentation, uh, brief in the sense the time is short. So I'll go fast. So I request you to catch the points, and I will try to upload my entire screen. So I will not be visible, but my voice will be visible to all of you. So keep your questions marked so that um, you can ask me the questions towards the end. So I will go to the presentation. Okay. So in this particular topic, as requested, actually, I I have tuned this my presentation to rather give some suggestions to the students who are interested in the space technology and applications as career choices for the students. It is one of the very lucrative in the coming years, and I'm going to cover about the what are the small satellites and small satellite missions, constellations, opportunity technology, and opportunity in applications, and one conference some photos I may show it to you, and also give my points of view as guidance. There are satellites up above in the sky which are rotating in order to get information from the by looking at the Earth, and also with a lot of sensors which are powerful enough to know what is there on the land, in the atmosphere, and in the space. So there are land and water observation satellites. There are cartographic application that is for land use and urban planning, town planning applications, and ocean atmospheric monitoring applications. There are many. This is a old uh, slide, but many other satellites are also launched. In this Cartosat 1, I was a project director, and Saral, I was a project director, and IMS1 was a project director, but I worked from IRS 1A onwards in many satellites. And uh, the satellite is nothing but upagraha. Upagraha means the one which goes around the earth. Okay, we call it upagraha because earth itself is graham. For that, another graham goes around, and that is upagraha. And these are nominally categorized by its weight. Okay, there is a large. If it is a satellite which is larger than 2000 kg, is large actually, and the medium is 1000 kg to 2000 kg. Small satellite means anything less than 1000 kg nowadays are being called small satellites, but basically 500 to 1000 kg. And mini satellite is 100 kg to 500 kg. Micro satellite means 10 kg to 100 kg, and nano means 1 kg to 10 kg, and pico satellite means 100 grams to 1 kg, and femto is 10 grams to 100 grams. And we were developing large satellites for the communications and remote sensing applications of the country and the world also. And those were of large mass like 1500 kgs to 3000 kgs. I'm going to tell you, and you will get a feeling as to what is the nearest satellite, what is a communication satellite, will come to know. And as the miniaturization has happened in the technology, it has become possible to make bigger satellite into smaller satellite with the same performance or even better performance. So that's how the other satellites are for mini, micro, nano, pico, femto. So I have been I have been rather I have worked on medium satellites, large satellites, and then I was made in charge for the small satellites, and I designed two buses. One is a that is a 450 kg class bus, and another is a 100 kg class bus. 100 kg class bus, I proved two missions, and Saral one mission, and I was part of set one, which is 1560 kg satellites. So per kg, actually, to launch it would be around $10 million, the cost of launch to put it to the space. So it is costly, but benefits are also are plenty because it will have a large view. So to have a look at what is a nearest satellite means the satellite which goes from the earth and nearer enough to collect the data. That means if this is the radius and this is the height of the satellite, and if it is around 500 to 1,400 or 1,000, 2,000 kilometers from the earth, it is all the nearest satellites. As you come closer, then visibility will be more, and you can get much more accurate and high resolution data. But if you come much lower, the satellite will not have much life because atmosphere thickness will increase and drag will increase. So satellite will have less life and it will fall and burn up in the atmosphere. So above 500 kilometers, it will have more life. And also we will put fuel there so that it increases its velocity, keep on increasing the velocity to compensate for the falling of altitude. So our satellites will be designed for 3 years and it will come to 5 to 6 years type of thing. And if we design for 10 years, it will come to 15 years. So that kind of margins we build in our satellite. And the satellites will go around the Earth in a circular orbit, and circular orbit can be a polar orbit means pole to pole. That means Earth is rotating like this, and satellite is rotating like this. It's a polar orbit. And what makes an angle with respect to the equatorial plane is inclined orbit actually. Inclined orbit can be a circle or it can be an ellipse type of thing. So ellipse will have more time on one side and less time on other side when it is observing the earth, whereas circular will have equal time in both the directions. So this is good for the atmospheric and ocean monitoring type of things. Inclined is good, but remote sensing based upon sun's energy, sun's reflection, polar orbits are good. And this polar orbit, we don't put exactly at the same place that it goes to pole to pole. We want that orbit to rotate at a particular rate of some 3.5 degrees per day, because Earth is rotating the sun around the sun. So um, if we put at the same place, then you will not cover all the areas, and also it is not sun synchronous. Whenever it is observing the Earth, the angle from the sun to the earth spot where we are imaging should, if it has to be constant, then orbit also should keep on rotating. For example, this is India. At that particular place, whenever it crosses India, you should have the same angle as sun to the sun, so that you can use the data more efficiently. This is called sun synchronous orbit. That means orbit also rotates at the same rate as that of the angular rate of the Earth. I think some of the small boys may not understand, but people who are above after eighth class, I think they know this, so they can understand this. So that data is useful, and we used to have only one satellite which is there with a limited width capacity to image the data. So with one satellite going around and which comes only after another 1 week, the things used to be like this. It covers a one strip of image. It covers a second strip on second day, third pass, okay, and second day first pass, second day second pass. So it used to take long time in order to cover whole India. So this is a story of 20 years back, 30 years back. And to get the data, that itself was very very great, because data is very useful for agriculture, forestry, geology, geomorphology, water resources, and many applications of urban planning, town planning, disaster management. So the data is essential. It is not just required, it is essential. So that is the value of the data. So if you give the data late, many applications will not be so useful. So you require more number of satellites. That's why constellations are coming. And before that, let us understand LEO orbit is around 500 to 3,000 kilometers. So we LEO orbit means low Earth orbit. So it will be around 500 to 3,000 kilometers. We call it low Earth orbit, and it is the closer it is, it can get a better view and better resolution of the collecting data. And what is a communication satellite? Communication satellite, you cannot put it in the lower orbit because it keeps on rotating, and if you want communication continuously, that fellow cannot give. So you have to put it in an orbit which is 36,000 kilometer orbit is called geosynchronous orbit. That means if the Earth is rotating like this 24 hours 360 degrees, the orbit also should rotate 360 degrees in 24 hours. Then what will happen is this satellite will be keep on looking at the same area along with the this thing. So if it is over India, India will be covered continuously. As India rotates, the satellite also rotating at the same rate. So it works like a tower in the space, and this whole area, not only just India, all adjacent countries will be covered with that communication capability. And if you put two, three of them, and both all the three services you are selling to the other countries, then it's a big business, and that's what other people are doing. But we were interested in the core India. Okay, so this is called communication uh, orbits, communication satellite orbits. This is 365, 36,500 around that this orbit is there. Whereas near Earth orbit is required for natural resources monitoring and all Earth applications. And both are essential. Communication is essential, and remote sensing also is essential. Okay. And what happened recently? Our Elon Musk, he has made the challenging task he has made by reducing the cost of the mission by bringing the satellite to the this thing. But a single satellite will not be able to give the consistent communication. So he has put thousands of satellites in the lower Earth. So he doesn't have to launch 36,500 kilometers. He has to launch only 500 600 kilometers only near Earth. And if one satellite is going takes only 10 minutes to cross India, there are another two satellites which are coming behind and in the front, and they will be able to take care of the communication requirement. That's how, if you put some 40,000 satellites around the globe and all are doing communication, he will be able to reach with high power, because this satellite is very far away and this satellite is very near. So the power of the communication channel is very high because it is nearer, and so the data rates and other things and the power requirements and on the ground component, that is the receiver, will be less complicated. So that is the business opportunity he has actually caught, and he wanted to be first. And fortunately, we did not allow him. Okay, otherwise we will be again paying it to him. So we have to make. So India has to be independent. So the a satellite mission will have space segment, which is has spacecraft and total infrastructure to make that labs and materials and testing facilities and launch interfaces. Space segment. The ground segment is ground stations have to track the satellite, and spacecraft has to be controlled in its orbit, and the data has been received and the product has been generated, which is given to the users, and the application development has to be done. That is ground segment. And user segment is that the people who want the data of the satellites. So there's a government departments. All government departments are using the space data, without which they cannot do their projects. So, and private users are there who will pay for the data, because they are real estate people and other construction people and people who are in the railways. That is private people who are doing the railways, and roadways and all that. And international users, there are around 200 countries, 200 countries which is required still. Okay, if we are the first and we can capture this particular market, and that is the actually crux of the entire space business. So uh, to the government, it is anyway, government only has put it, so it is a free, but all the others they have to pay, and that is the business. So in my career, I had the opportunity. I have worked in from IRS 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, P2, and I had opportunity to make a small satellite. And whatever we made around 1000 kg class satellite, you see how small we are before the solar panel, which generates the energy for the satellite to work, and four panels on this side, four panels on the other side. And this big satellite with a small team of engineers, I reduced it to 85 kg. Me and my team, we reduced it to 85 kg. This is the miniaturization we had done in 2007. And this is the mini satellites. This 100 kg with the same capability. This even having the hyperspectral. This is the multispectral. This is the hyperspectral camera. This is the star sensor, and this is the solar panels. When it is being launched, they will be folded and they will deploy on either side, and that is the energy making. And these are antennas. Okay, and the launcher interface will be at the bottom. And this is the directions, the pitch, roll, yeah. Yeah is the uh, direction where it will be look towards the earth. And then the second mission we had on YouthSat, where we observed with antennas the earth constituents of different pollutants or other oxygen, nitrogen, those things we have observed. This is the second mission we have proven, and for that we received the Excellence Award and an appreciation from the President of India. And now with small satellite, what the advantage is, you don't have to wait so many, so many days and all that further. So many satellites are going to come, and we cannot be behind. And the current generation should think of how best they can use the space power in order to lift the economy of the of a country, and also they themselves getting benefited. So you have to, for if you are interested, this is one of the great areas which is going to give you a lot of opportunities. That's what I'm going to introduce. And before that, has several concepts of remote sensing and communications which satellites have used. That is, sun's rays when it comes onto the ground and gets reflected, the satellites will detect the image. From the image, they will be able to find out what is the particular feature on the ground, and from that you will get the full data, and that is called imaging. And you use both optical, ultraviolet, visible, near IR, and short wave IR, and thermal IR bands we are going to use, and also microwave regions. Okay. With that, we make the payloads, and there are passive sensors. Passive means they collect the reflected uh, radiation, and active means synthetic aperture radar, which you give like a torchlight. You put the light and then get the reflection. That is active. So scatterometers and altimeters are of active type of thing, lidars. So they all give a lot of information on the ground. And some payloads will give line by line as they go. As the satellite goes like this, they give line by line the total image. And some will give a very very bold ones like what Russian cameras. They used to give a total picture, and the film used to be dropped. There's a old technology, and this is the CCD charge coupled device detectors. We started with 128 pixels. Now we did up to 16K. Now 64K, 64,000 pixels in one line, so that you get large image. And optics is so much developed now that without distortion you will be able to get the very good accuracies for the full swath. This is called swath, and this is the path of the on the ground as the satellite goes keeps moving. It gets the image line by line, and it makes, and that's how the resource sat many satellites are used sending the data. And the resource sat one was 5.8 meters. Every 5.8 meters by 5.8 meters is one single pixel, and that is the resolution from 600 kilometers orbit. 600 to 800 kilometers orbit. Looking at the every 5.8 meters was a great success. And multispectral, that means multiple colors. And 23.5 meter resolutions. With that, we used to have 740 kilometers swath also. This is 141 kilometers swath, and 56 meters. We had 740 kilometers width. This is the large one, 740 kilometers width swath. Within 10 meters, 10 minutes, you'll be able to get from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Okay, 740 kilometers within 10 minutes. So, two of such paths, it will cover the whole India. But this swath is lesser. It takes more days. This is much lesser. As you go higher resolution, your swath is less. That is how the remote sensing payloads collect the data. This is several uh, characteristics. And we are also try to put one geo satellite, geo imaging satellite, that is from 36,000 kilometers to use it. But this is not continued now. 50-meter resolution we had, and it is useful for agriculture. Okay, national level land cover is monitored, lineament mapping is made, snow and glaciers mapping is done, land degradation mapping, wetland mapping, soil mapping, wetland mapping. So these are some of the applications. And as the crop grows, the reflective energy and its image gives a lot of data, whether water is getting depleted, so they take actions. And we use biodiversity of, because we are very much, we not only we, all the animals and total biological world is dependent upon the how the different kinds of uh, this biodiversity and the plants and other things, they are dependent on that. So the conservation of that is very much necessary. So every government requires the data, and groundwater is the most essential for living, and that is what the information you regularly get from the space data. Okay. And for urban planning and town planning, you require a very sharp images, so that very high resolution images, like zero point 0.8 meters Cartosat 2 and 2.5 meters Cartosat 1. I was the project director for this Cartosat 1, and next one is zero point 0.8 meters. Now it is 0.35 meters. 35 centimeters is one pixel. Every 35 centimeters can be seen. So that is the power of the remote sensing for the town planning, urban planning. And we have other series like in between 65 centimeters, and then now 2.5, 25 centimeters. That is Cartosat 3, it is launched already. These are the, and the synthetic aperture radar, that all the other remote sensing satellites which depend upon the sun radiation, they require sun, whereas the synthetic aperture radar and the microwave radars, they will give the microwave energy and then collect the reflected energy, energy pulse, and from that they will be able to do the imaging. So these sensors can work in the night also and then give the images, where the other ones can work only in the sunlit portion. And when we had the Cartosat 1 data, first time we could get the 3D imaging of the Earth, because we had two cameras simultaneously observing, and we could get the 3D imaging, which is very, very useful for protecting our borders. And you can, and it is good for the infrastructure like dams, construction, railways, bridges, culverts, and also protecting the that water flows. Okay, this was very much necessary. And then this is a 3D image. I don't think it will go to the next one. Yeah. So then I was introduced to Prime Minister. So, and apart from those high resolution images, ocean monitoring is very, very essential, because ocean, we are so much dependent upon the ocean part. Otherwise, we cannot live on the earth. Ocean is contributing a lot in the atmosphere. So we have to continuously monitor the ocean, and also there is so much of populations of different varieties of uh, what you can say, that oceans, and they depend upon the food availability there. So whatever pollutants that we put in the ocean, it kills them, because their food will not be uh, available, because food will be get killed, and especially oil spills type of thing. So we have to keep observing the ocean, and we have ocean sat series, and this also tells about the potential fishing for the fisheries. uh, regularly it is given. And I was also provided for the satellite Saral mission, satellite with Argos and altimeter. The Argos will keep on observing the wave heights and roughness of the sea, so that your all the planning of traffic, uh, that sea traffic is controlled based upon this, and advisories are given for the people to not to get into problem. And also the altimeter gives the surface, rather, like we have hills on the earth, there are, because of the G variations, there is hills and dales in the sea also. That only is controlling and interacts with the atmosphere, and many atmospheric parameters are dependent upon this data. So it's a 3D Earth. It is yeah, it's again camera payload, and this is a NISR is a synthetic aperture radar. Now actually it is we planned it for 1921 launch. So one thing I have to tell you, it got delayed because it's a NASA and ISRO working together. But this is a very big thing. This is a 10-meter antenna, and this is around totally 20 meters, maybe some seven seven-story building height. Okay, this is ready last year only at NASA, and it has come now. It is in the ISRO's lab. I also went and saw this few days back. They have shown it to me. So this is about to be launched in about 3 to 4 months. This is a combined, that is NASA and ISRO together, India and America together. We are making this mission, NISR. And with this, actually, snow melt runoff forecasting will can be done, and that's very important for the flood prediction. And disasters also, disaster, meteorological, topological, environmental. These are natural disasters, man-made or technical, industrial warfare. Okay, so any disaster we have to now with satellite data. So covering the natural disasters is another chapter. So yeah, this is only an introductory talk to all of you. Any particular college or school wants to rather want to have their students and staff to be told in more detail, I will I'll be able to do that if time is available. Okay, and so with the increasing demands on the inputs from the space, the few satellites will not be sufficient. So many satellites are required. If bigger satellites which are costly, like 200 crores, 250 crores, 500 crores, or rather
అమ్మా
uh,
బిగ్గర్ శాటిలైట్స్ 100 crores 500 crores అంట
yes,
Team,
అదంత
may I
ఎక్కువ
request everyone to go on mute? పిల్లలు ఎవరైనా ఉంటే తల్లిదండ్రులు దయతలిచి ప్రొఫెషనల్గా బిహేవ్ చేసి మ్యూట్ చేయండి.
yeah. So the miniaturization has helped to make the satellites at lower cost, and the more number of satellites only can give the data in time, the way we want and our governments want for taking actions. So the miniaturization satellites in the constellation, that means more number of satellites in the orbit, can only be able to give the outputs in time. So we are very much dependent. All governments are very much dependent on these satellites, and that is what is going on. And I have covered this youth sat and constellations. And how about the future? Future we have to train the students, so that, because now the realization has come that satellite has got a very good benefit for the national economy. And I have trained several college students to make the satellites. You see, it's a small satellite which is capable of monitoring atmosphere, thanks to miniaturization, and they are making it. This is SRM University students. It was launched already. The 5 satellites which I have guided is launched. This is an atmospheric payload. This is a span antenna. This is VHF antenna. So, and these are the solar panels which generate the energy required for the design. And this gives an attitude error. So we train the students in the satellite technology so that they become the future uh, space scientists and do much better than, they don't have to do what we did. They have to do much better than what we did. And this is a Kanpur IIT students I have guided, and it is a 3U satellite which is coming out of a package. When after going into the orbit, when it is opened, the satellite will fly off from this, and it has got its own function with the payloads. And this gives a fantastic experience and confidence to the students at the engineering level. And whichever is the satellite that has to go through the vibration, that has to go through the thermovac test, that has to go through the EMI test, electromagnetic interference test, and all the tests that are required to make it qualify for the space environment. Also, for the launch vibrations has to be done, and there is no compromise on that. So we guide the students and staff in order to do such things. So then they are prepared for both to join the organizations or make their own effort to make the rather make an industry. So one of such models in Kanpur IIT, in their Golden Jubilee celebrations, I was I was receiving from the President of India the model of the Kanpur IIT, which I guided. He is the student leader, and I was the guide, and he is our director. And the satellite sat on the launch vehicle like this. So this is the fourth stage, and below third stage is there. This is the fourth stage. In the fourth stage only all the payloads and other things which guides the whole PSLV are put, and here satellite is put, small satellites, and this opens up and the satellite flies into this after reaching the orbit. Some more photos. So space is a good opportunity for the business. Highly capable country among spacefaring nations. You see, we are fourth highly capable country, but our share so far is only 2% in global market. Is it not bad? Why it is bad? Because we are not open for so many years, and only 3 years back it is open to the private. And when we were with the government, actually all the other players used to arm twist us, and they did not allow us to come into the global market. But now it is open. Last 2 years it's open. So, but when it is open, there is no manpower capable of taking up the challenge and then doing the satellites of international capability. And we are not behind. Now around 400, I think 400 startups have started, and 200 were already existing. And even if 20% of them are successful, we are going to be the global leaders. Okay, and in the big market, we are going to increase this 2% share. And for that, I know the coming up generations definitely will do, and we are behind you. People like me who have delivered the systems which are worked in the space, we are behind you. And so we also started my society of small satellite systems with a lot of experts. So these experts are also helping. I'm also with many universities. I'm helping them. So this is a great opportunity. People who are uh, rather interested, they can go into that. So what are the opportunity for the education? Space segment is nothing but spacecraft, sensors and payloads, electrical subsystems, power, controls, communications, mechanical systems, structure, mechanisms, thermal materials. So the regular engineering and science subjects, okay, those being the same, to understand the requirements of the space and doing the research in such a way that the current system will get improved into the new one is the space research, is the education and space research. So, unfortunately, international space universities are there in Europe, and Singapore is having. But in India, only 10 or 15 universities are working, or IITs, some of the IITs are working in this direction. But a separate department is not necessary because it is a multidisciplinary. You have electrical, you have power, you have communication, you have mechanical systems, you have structure, mechanism, thermal, material. But so, what can make people specialized in space research is it is a multi-subject, multi-capability. So, space research centers are coming up now. Wherever it is coming up, the people of corresponding disciplines are orienting and designing for the space. So that is a challenge, and some universities are doing, and that number has to increase. So like this only, if I talk to some people, people who are interested, definitely the demand is increasing in the universities and engineering colleges. And in coming 5 to 10 years, I think many people will be ready to take up the challenges, and also more number of companies will come from India. So in total infrastructure making is also subject, and process sensor processing, control monitoring, data processing, data product generation is for space segment. On the ground, launch services, private launch services can be there. They are already there. One or two companies have come. Fuels, engines, subsystems, casings are the areas, and ground stations, making a ground station, spacecraft control centers, data reception and archival, processing and product generation, application development, infrastructure, and also constellation management. These are the areas for the ground segment wherein people can uh, educate themselves, train themselves through the universities, or universities can train in these areas with experts participation, and they can together can make systems which will work for the space, which they can use it for selling to the other countries. So, and future is India's, the future space is very fast growing. Space services to the world are increasing, and only four to 10 countries only are capable, and we are the fourth or third country now today, third capable country today. So we are at much advanced the space. So human space transportation is going to come, is almost it is yeah, within 10 years it will be like that. And the space labs will be participating. India is going to participate. Space stations and the space colonies in on other planets when they are doing. There are a lot of areas where the private people will be able to do things so that people survive there. People have to live there. So these are going to be practical things, and constellations creation and maintenance is another task, really is a task, and space support for refueling and relaunching from the space itself, and the space materials and mining from the whatever that is Vulcan and those things, the masses which are coming in the space. So that like this is an unending applications potential that is going to be there for education and research. So this people can educate themselves that they do the research, take a particular point, and then do complete their PhDs, okay, and contribute for the space technology and applications. And space, all these areas will be a space business opportunities. Who can rather deliver the things which were delivered only to the government departments, which is going to be continue there, and private people have to deliver those things. So that's a business, and they can use, they can give it to the private users or industries and lawmakers, because everybody is requiring space inputs in different kinds, and international users, 250 countries they can sell. If they have something which is application, they can sell it to 250 countries. And it's a big one, $450 billion to $1 trillion, and 2% to we should at least go to 25% of that should come to India. So this is a great opportunity. So all the best for next generations of space researchers, explorers, and entrepreneurs. It's interesting.
Thank you very
So,
much for the session,
so,
sir.
so,
Probably we'll take up the question and answers just in a bit. Please hold on, team. So, sir, you have given us a lot of information, your expertise, knowledge. It will be really useful for all the next generation students. So, just for your information, there are two schools who have projected this session on the screen right now. So, there are about 70 to 90 students watching live. So, sir, just give me 1 minute. We'll take up question and answers.